Uh, Hello everyone. Today's podcast is about mental health, and we are going to discuss about certain topics regarding mental health. And and I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Dr. Sonya. And can you introduce yourself?
Hi, Janam. Thank you so much for having me here, first of all. So, by profession, I'm a dental surgeon. My specialization is periodontics. So, I do surgeries on the gums and on the jawbone,
Mhm.
right? I'm also a professional dancer. I'm also
Oh,
a QMath teacher partner, and
sorry.
I'm also a QMath teacher partner.
Okay.
So, we teach math, yes,
Mathematics.
online.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, so with QMath, and I'm also an early childhood educator. So I
Oh.
work with Delhi preschool, and I make content on mental health, child sexual abuse,
Oh.
interfaith,
Mhm.
yes, and whatever is important, basic human rights violations. So all the things that matter, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Like whenever we think about mental health, the first thing we think of is how it is neglected in our society, especially since last couple of years, it has been having a lot of coverage, regarding mental issues and mental health and all. But if we think about it, before 10 years, it was like a taboo. It was kind of a taboo.
Yes.
And I personally in my family have certain people who have mental health problems, official like clinical depression and all. So I've
Hmm.
always been fascinated about learning and reading about it, plus being into philosophy and spirituality, human behavior and human mind and the way a person thinks, and these are very important things that we need to understand to know our own self better. So, what do you think about it? That mental health has been really ignored, but is it like in a good? It has been progressing, like in the more society, in the Indian society. What do you think
Yes.
about it?
Yes, Janam. So, as you said, as you acknowledged that 10 years ago, there was no talk really about this mental health issue, right? And now I feel because we have social media and
Mhm.
everybody has been given, a platform to raise their own voice, a lot of people personally, started using their own social media to tell their own story and
Yes, yes.
inspire others. So people listening to people who are sharing their stories publicly,
Mhm.
other people listening to them as an audience felt less alone. So I feel it is a cascade effect that has been happening basically because of social media, because everyone has been given, this opportunity to tell their own story now. All we
Yeah,
need is our own phone.
yeah, exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
own phone, our own little data pack, okay, according to our choice and convenience. And we can tell our own stories and inspire people. I, however, feel that in our country, in India, there's a lot of, gap. There's a huge gap. And where we need to address mental health issues. Like all of us, everyone is so focused on, this whole rat race and this
Yeah,
competition
exactly.
and this goal that one has to reach, where
Mhm.
people they tend to forget, or they're programmed to just not pay attention to their mental health as such.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I feel there's this whole huge gap that we need to bridge. But the good news is right now, bit by bit, it is being bridged, and it is helping a
Yeah,
lot of
especially in
people.
the last couple of years, it has been a lot.
Hmm.
I think it's something to do
Yes.
with more to do with the social media and how easily it is for people to convey their message or share their own story, because you are
Yes.
anonymous in the social media, so nobody's there to judge you. So it makes a huge
Yes.
difference. So I think internet has helped a lot.
Definitely.
But also
Definitely.
internet has kind of made people more stressful, more more depressed because of the, like you said, the rat race, the competition. Because the
Hmm,
major
hmm, hmm, hmm.
problem, especially the young people face, are about achieving success as soon as possible, because
Hmm.
they think that if they do not achieve success, they will be like left out
Hmm.
in the society, and social validation
Yes.
and all those things.
Yes. The
So yeah,
validation that comes.
exactly. So And especially the problem is, I think, is also with the education system. Like from initially, we have never been taught much focus on the mental health compared to more about the
Hmm.
physical and material stuff. Like everybody knows
Hmm.
how to earn money, but nobody knows how to be happy without money. Like uh,
Yes.
so,
So
yeah,
right. Yes, I also feel that the branding, the marketing a lot of schools and all the way from preschools or colleges, they all market it as 100% success.
yeah, and it's
100%
more
success.
competitive. Yeah,
Yes, so nobody really enjoys the journey to success. So it just takes away from success actually being a journey. So, yeah, so where people are working so hard to tell people that, success is a whole journey, so enjoy the process. When there's so much marketing and the marketing strategy that people use, okay, 100% success and toppers, and, this is what you get, and,
like there are
100%
billboards of
increment.
toppers. Like he
Yes,
just this person has scored 98%,
and
99%.
pictures.
It just
Yes, yes,
increases
yes. But
the gap between. Yeah,
exactly, exactly. So what about the rest who did not top? Maybe it was
yeah,
just, something, maybe that person who was not able to top the class had some other mental health crisis, or maybe he was just not fit for the program.
yeah.
So where
Like
are these
there are
education
so many
systems
people who have like not even been to
needs?
schools. Yeah, yeah, but are successful.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
So I just feel like the curriculum should be tailor made, and teachers from a school level should be able to recognize that every child has a learning curve, and every child has a different need, and every child has been brought up differently, comes from a different environment, and every child is basically different. So we've got to tailor the curriculum or the
but
way we are teaching the child according to the child's needs.
do you think that's
Otherwise children
happening
feel neglected.
nowadays? Like, are there any schools out there who are really focusing on that?
I don't think majority of the schools are doing that. I think majority of, and the thing is, the schools that do that, they are pretty expensive,
Yeah, yeah.
or maybe I just don't know of a school that is
Even I have
budget
never heard
friendly,
about.
or I'm
Yeah,
unaware of it. So maybe
because in
I
a
don't know
like,
about it.
yeah, exactly. In
Hmm.
like, let's say in one single class there are approx like 80, yeah, 60 students. So a teacher
Yes,
cannot focus on every single person and whatever he thinks or whatever he wants to
exactly,
express or anything. So yeah,
exactly. So
and
the
education
quality
has
gets
been more
compromised.
generalized, and maybe
Yes, yes, yes,
after 12th, a person really has a chance to choose what he
yes,
wants to do.
yes.
Until then, he has to study
And
everything. Yeah,
yes, and I also feel that in school, at least my school, there were moral science lectures. Okay, moral science classes were free periods for us. So
yeah,
everybody used to wait for moral class, and
exactly.
they used to jump on the table, say free period,
Yeah,
because
all this
moral science was,
moral science.
yeah, it
Then
was not
there was
really
also
important.
EVS, environmental studies. These were the
Yes,
things which were like, okay,
exactly.
we have to just give our question
Yes,
paper and nothing serious. But right
yes,
now we realize after growing up that these are the most important topics
exactly. These are more important, in fact, like
because
overall personality development.
yeah, it's
And
important.
there's so much importance given to physical training, PT classes or physical education,
Yeah,
but to mental health, or how to cope with stress. Because I strongly feel stress is felt by everybody. It's just that some people are able to cope better than others, right? But
yeah.
stress is a constant, it's always there, it's lurking.
Mhm.
So I feel one very important lesson that children have to be taught is how to deal with stress
Exactly.
from the school time.
Yeah. But what do you think? Like, what are the ways which can be done,
Hmm.
like, to help people
Hmm.
relieve stress? Or I think one of the most yeah, first, yeah, say,
Yeah, so I think schools, maybe they do not say that we are conducting these activities for stress management, um, where they have even physical activity, whether it's sports or it's dancing or it's learning music. playing
Mhm.
music, anything to do with the sports, music, or writing, creative writing, or even meditation, where some schools, early in the morning, they have their school, maybe their school prayers, which is
Yeah,
broadcasted throughout the
I
school,
think most
on the
of the
speaker,
schools, like
and
many
they
schools
have
have it.
some
Yeah,
meditation. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. So I think these are ways of the ways that they incorporate, where they help children to learn mechanisms to cope with stress. However, I just feel, a lot of people need to be told,
Mhm.
right? Like a lot of people need to be told that, what, there's something called stress and everybody feels it. And it's okay if you're not able to cope up, you're not any less. But these are the ways that are going to help you, because these activities are just conducted, right? But what about someone who just does not know what it is for? And
Mhm.
so this has to do a lot to do with awareness, right?
Yes. The
Like
awareness
some
was
people
mentioned
are more
earlier.
aware than the others. Yes. So the ones who are not aware have to be told,
Yeah.
because what happens out of the blue when they are faced with with such a stressful situation? Some people do take extreme steps, or it
Yeah.
just kills their esteem, right?
Because for them it's
So
difficult to share to anyone because of the anxiety and the way the social structure
yes,
is. Like they feel that it would be rather more
yes,
harming to share it to anyone compared to it's like beneficial.
exactly.
So,
To
yeah.
the judgment that comes with it. So I'll just share an experience of mine. So in school, like, I was a very creative kid, and I was very calm. I would always just do my coloring and painting, and I would stay in my bubble, really happy go lucky. Uh, but then when I was in class 9 and 10 onward, there's a situation that I faced which really triggered anxiety and depression in me. And I did not have any idea what it was and why I felt the way I felt. And there was nobody who would tell me why I feel a certain way. And because of those feelings, I really suppressed a lot of my, feelings, and I suppressed my personality a lot, because I was this outgoing person. I used to be into debates, elocutions, drama, anything to do with even creative um, painting and all of this. I was heavily into all that. But because of the depression, anxiety, I suppressed even my personality. So then when I went to college for my BDS, I did it in Manipal. So there I was still going through depression and anxiety, and BDS, it is pretty demanding.
Yeah, it is.
Dentistry is a demanding field, physically and mentally. So
Yeah, one
there
of
I
my
was
friend
still
has done it.
battling. Yes. So I was battling depression and anxiety, but I found dance. So through dance, I would, vent my feelings, and that really helped me cope a lot. So I have a very personal and emotional connection with dance because of that. It literally saved me through that phase. Another thing, but I was still not aware till my second year of BDS. It was then when I read a self-help book which my friend gave me. She lent me a self-help book, and then I got to know, okay, what I'm really going through. And I felt that was like this eureka moment. And from then on, the tables changed. So I really felt like, okay, now I can actually take control of the situation and control, uh, the way my life is going to turn out from that point on.
And we
So
usually
that
realize
is how.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we usually
Hmm.
realize these things once we have like crossed an age. Like it is not something that maybe in the childhood, most like many people have a very good childhood, but once they grow up with all the responsibilities and this
Yes.
capitalism, and
Yes.
yeah, they have to earn money, they have to get married, and there are many other
Yes.
issues and everything. So it's mainly the people between 18 to like 30, the age, are I think far more prone to depression and all, because
Definitely.
first thing, you are just discovering the world. Like you are discovering the world
Hmm.
because you are going out. Finally the college is over, everything is over, and now you are stepping into the world.
Hmm.
And I think it's difficult for some people to just take it, like the things that are.
Yes.
So yeah, I have seen many people as because I am also an astrologer, so people come towards me
Hmm.
to show their horoscopes and all. So usually people are, everyone has the same issues about, like they have issues about success and material world and all those things. Like they, most of the people are suffering from illness, are suffering from stress, but they don't know that they are suffering from stress,
Yes,
because
yes, yes,
nobody asks about anything far more deeper. They are all about, okay, when am
yes,
I going to earn money, or when am I going to be famous, or whenever,
definitely,
like my
definitely.
family will respect me or not, all those things. While
Mm-hmm.
they should rather more
Yes,
understand that, okay, these things are there, the part of life, but there are always ups and downs in those things.
mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
yeah, so people have become
yeah,
far more material, because of the,
exactly.
I think
Because
maybe because of the education, or whatever the society is, or just their own
hmm,
problems, like own desires and own.
yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. One thing is, Janam, I feel that the idea of success or the parameter that we measure it by, for some people, it is the way they are wired. Maybe because of the family, the friends, or the community, or the school or college they've gone to, right?
Yeah.
For some other people, I think they are driven to succeed in the way of a social construct, maybe like $1 billion or having that Mercedes, or those things.
Because whenever we
um
think of success, like we
Needs.
say, what is success?
Yes,
The first thing people would imagine would be a car, a bungalow, or somewhere
yes, yes,
posh,
yes,
a flat,
yes,
a bungalow near a beach, or like something like that. So yeah, generally the
yes.
definition of success is
So
money.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So I feel the other category is where people are driven to get that
Yeah.
definition of success because of some needs that they have, some unfulfilled needs, right?
Yes.
So I think it is because of that. Because some people who are from a background who have not been so privileged, right? And probably they were mistreated. Now, I don't mean to generalize at all.
Yeah.
I'm not, by all means, I'm not generalizing, but just a case, right? Just an example. So maybe somebody who was ill treated just because of the background they came from, maybe they were not as privileged. So this person feels the need to prove themselves, right? So I feel the other category of people is where they have some need, or another thing is maybe a child who has been a person who has been sexually abused in their childhood, right? And then these are unresolved issues which carry on. Maybe something would just trigger those feelings later on in life. So then this person, maybe the person is 30, 40, or 50 years old, but
Mm.
that child is still there, right? It's like the person has been frozen in that time of childhood, and those needs have not been felt. So to get some sort of validation also, this person might be driven to succeed in a way that society defines it, because they're
Yeah.
trying to prove themselves or validate something.
And these things then lead to like addictions. Like we see most of the younger
Definitely,
generation, especially, many of them are into smoking and all those things,
definitely.
which
Yes, yes, yes.
which somehow there is some of this mental issues or any issues that are there, which
Mhm.
are kind of, they are
Yes,
trying to have an escape through
yes,
smoking or alcohol or anything. And it has
definitely.
increased in the younger generation comparatively. Like we can
Yes,
literally see, especially in a
yes.
city like Mumbai or Bangalore or Delhi, you can easily see
Mm-hmm.
whenever you go to any colleges or any corporate areas or anywhere,
Mm,
there are people, there are smoking zones. Literally, there are smoking zones where
definitely.
people can come and
Yes,
smoke. So
yes.
yeah,
And I think, it's seen according to studies that people who resort to these kind of things, these addictions, to get over their stress or whatever ill feeling is stressing them out, it's maybe because they do not have an anchor of spirituality.
yes, yes, that was the point I was
Whether
going
it's
to come to.
spirituality or whether it is religion or however one defines their faith, if they do not have that anchor to ground them to go back to every day.
Yeah, yeah,
Because say like 9 to 5, I'm really stressed at my work, and somebody has said something that has triggered some anxiety in me. and then my mind goes on overdrive, and then it's this whirlpool of negative emotions that's just driving me down, and my logic and everything is clouded by my emotions, and I'm just trying to breathe, or probably I have an anxiety or panic attack at work. But then if I have an anchor like spirituality, for example, or maybe a purpose. Some people do not even define spirituality as an anchor. They say my purpose is my anchor. Maybe their purpose is to fulfill their grandfather's dream or their grandmother's dream, so they would just remember that and try to take control of the situation. So that would really help them ground themselves. So I think spirituality or having a purpose in life, I think that really helps someone ground, because then if someone's, for example, if someone's purpose is, okay, I want to be, like a great dancer. So then this person, no matter how much stress the person is feeling, and if the person is tempted to smoke or drink or take some sort of drugs to get over that emotion, the person will remember their purpose,
Yeah.
right? That no, I need to be a dancer, I need to be fit, so I'm not going to do this. So that person resorts to discipline, because being disciplined is so hard, right?
Yeah.
Like success, everybody wants a success, but getting the success, all the hard work, which requires discipline, which is the tough part. A lot
But
of
yeah,
people
I
are
was
not
coming towards,
able to.
yeah, and
Yes.
I was coming towards the point of spirituality, because I think,
Hmm.
like, for example, if I look at my story, I have always been like a very introvert person in my childhood, and
Hmm.
it used to be really difficult because every friend, like majority of my circle and everything, every person were extroverts, and
Hmm.
it was really difficult to gel up. And I had friends who were, the only introverts will have friends who are introverts, and the way they think and
Hmm.
everything. So it was really difficult to gel up with the more extroverted people, and those kind of things were difficult in my childhood. But I think as I grew up, and there were many other kind of problems, and also there was many good things happening. But I think the main thing that helps, that what I have seen is like spirituality, because religion,
Hmm.
spirituality, this gives you a structure and a purpose. Like all
Yes.
religions talk about things that are very important, which we have never been taught in schools. Like even the very simple thing, like let's say I follow Jainism. So in Jainism, non-violence has been a very is a very important
Hmm.
concept, and
Hmm.
non-violence not only to human beings, but non-violence towards even smallest of insects and microorganisms. And this in return converts our, like helps our mind to be more compassionate, because if let's say I don't
Yes.
even want to kill a single insect, I have a compassion towards an insect, that easily helps. Like the major thing that is missing nowadays are the qualities like compassion, qualities of pure
Hmm.
love about
Yes.
nature and all
And
those things,
tolerance.
and tolerance.
Yes. Yes.
So these are the
Yes.
things which spirituality can bring in, the study of scriptures. And if we look at the major scriptures, like I have studied Vedanta and Jainism, and the major focus has always been towards self-improvement. They always looked
Hmm.
at the soul and his problems, his issues, or attachment,
Yes.
greed, desire, jealousy, all those things. And they were completely focused on it, how to get rid of those things. Because whatever material success that you are going to achieve is
Hmm.
fine. Like you can be super rich, but still you are not going to have, not going to be happy person.
Yes.
So that's, so the main focus should be towards the inner self, and that's the reason the meditation's main purpose is not about like
Hmm.
flying, or like not flying, but to experience stuff. The experience is
Hmm.
within. Like it's not, the meditation is not about just becoming more. Like the people who do yoga, meditation, all those things are more. They think of more outer benefits, that they'll have a better
Hmm.
body, or they'll do, they'll become more active in life and all those things. But the focus should be towards inner self, and that's what the main scriptures prescribe, and main spirituality talks about that only. But yeah, and so I think to cure mental issues, to relieve stress and to become happy, I think the main thing that will help is study of spirituality, study of philosophy.
Yes. And meditation, which I
Meditation.
was just going to elaborate a little bit on that. Now, my experience with meditation, I can't even explain how great it made me feel, right? So, I was brought up Christian, okay? But of late, like last year around February, I started diving deep into Sikhism, okay? And I just found it so practical, such a practical faith to follow. And what I found was that in Sikhism, they pay a lot of attention to meditation. So one of the pillars of Sikhism is Nam Japna,
Mm-hmm.
where we are meditating on the name of the God, right? So I saw on YouTube, like there are amazing channels. There's Basics of Sikhi, there's Nanak Nam by Satpal Singh. So Nanak Nam, they have this whole guided meditation thing. So I started my meditation with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just turned tables for me very organically. Like I never felt any sort of conflict, because sometimes if there are some other faiths, I would feel a little conflicted,
Yeah.
right, in certain principles and teachings. But here I never felt any conflict, and it was the transition has been very organic for me. And basically, I just find it very practical. So like you said, in the faith that you mentioned, that they talk about killing the wrong things, right? Like growth, anger, lust, ego, all of these things. So even Sikhism, it's the same thing. They say the 5 thieves of joy, right? So these are the main things, and they say ego, because where you have ego, God cannot live there.
Mm-hmm.
So the main thing is to be humble, to kill the ego, to grow, to go ahead in life, and to grow one with God. And God could be anything, however one defines it. So I just wanted to share how I was introduced to meditation and how that you know changed my life beautifully. Because earlier I would just get overwhelmed with the work that I was doing. Like the bandwidth that I had was limited, I felt. And if I would get a project, okay, no, then I would think that no, I have 2 3 projects, I cannot shuttle. It would just overwhelm me so much, and it would trigger a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
But since I had started meditation, I just felt like I could see things as they are, and I could
That's
take
the whole
on
point of
meaning.
spirituality, like to see
Yes,
things as they are. Like the
as
major
they are.
issue with people is that we are not able to look at the things as it is, and uh,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
so
Either we
perception plays a
internalize
very important
it,
role. Yeah.
yes, or we personalize it, and then we just attach it to something, because there's always this ego. So that's what I learned. Like, if there's no ego, then things are just beautiful. And I started seeing things differently. The very same thing, I would see it differently, and I would not attach myself, to the outcome. Earlier, I'll tell you, Jenna, the biggest mistake I would make was that I was attaching my happiness to my success, to my goal. That, oh, if I achieve this, then I'm going to be, happy. If I'm successful in these terms, then I'm going to be happy. So there was always a condition that I was placing.
Yeah.
It
It
was
was,
like
I
I was
think,
not allowing myself to be happy if I would not achieve that goal. But then
yeah, I
I
think it
learned
was.
that no, and I read it somewhere, yes, that
Uh,
these should be just exclusive entities. Your success is in its place, and happiness is something that you should just constantly be. It should be a constant state of mind, to be in
yeah,
a high spirit, and to just be happy and joyful and appreciate and be grateful about the things around us,
yeah. I think
the
it was.
little things
Yeah.
around.
For
Hmm.
for me, it
Yes.
was. I think it was similar for me. Like when I used to be in college, I started working when I was 15 years old, and I used to go to college in the
Okay.
morning. And once the college is over, I used to go to work. And for me, my target was that by the time I'm 25, I will be like owner of a lot of multinational companies and all those things. Like for me, it was
Uh-huh.
I used to work too much. And for me, the
Hmm.
success was really important to achieve success. And I used to do,
Hmm.
I did multiple degrees. I used to study. I used to do, just not my graduation, but also diploma, plus do job, plus do something else.
Yes.
And
Yes.
this was the kind of person I was, always running, always running. And once I became what, I think 22, 23, I got into astrology, and after astrology I got into spirituality and philosophy. I had studied all these things in my childhood, but I had never
Mm-hmm.
implemented that particularly.
Yes.
And once I
Applying
grew
it.
up, yeah, then I realized and I studied all those things. And like after, let's say, 5 6 years of studying philosophy, and especially the uh, indian the Indian religions, the Indians,
Hmm.
I've studied Vedant, like Hinduism and Jainism, and I've studied a bit
Hmm.
of Buddhism. And the major focus is always on the self, on your own self,
Yes,
your
yes,
own
yes.
uh, whatever bad qualities are there, to get rid of it and realize who you really are, your own potential. And once, after studying and after researching, after thinking days and nights about all these things, right now I'm at a state where I now don't want to really run for any material success or anything. If
Hmm.
I'm earning, it's fine. If I'm not earning, it's fine. Like for me, all those issues, like I used to be introvert, so like I was bullied and all those things, now didn't matter at all, and I became such a happy person. And it
Hmm.
it reflected on my thoughts, on my perception towards life and
Hmm.
all. So that's what matters.
Yes,
And I think philosophy, spirituality has helped a lot, and that's the only way I think
yes.
which helps. I don't think there is any other way, because the direct focus of spirituality is towards your own self. There
Hmm.
can be,
On
like,
improvement.
science can give medicines and all those things to help you relieve stress or anything, but still those things won't work unless you own, like, from the root, you realize the issues and you try to
Yes,
get rid of them in the right way possible.
yes.
So I think that's the main focus. And the problem with more younger generation is people are not keen about religion or spirituality, and people are
Hmm.
going more towards the
Hmm.
more material and atheistic lifestyle. And I think that um, that has some impact. That has many huge impact. Like, because a person
Hmm.
without spirituality or without any religion is in the ancient Sanskrit, it is termed as a pashu, like a animal, like living in the earth, because he doesn't have any purpose,
Hmm.
any uh,
Hmm.
a goal in the life, because the material
Yeah.
goal is useless. It is of no use because it is going to go away.
Yes.
And also the karma theory, like whatever we are getting is because
Hmm.
of our own karma. It's not
Hmm.
something that we particularly we can decide and we can have it. Because if that
Hmm.
is the case, everyone wants to be rich. Like everybody should be,
Hmm.
but there are people who are struggling and who have always struggled in their own life to just even have food for one time. It's difficult.
Hmm.
So this,
Yes.
yeah,
But you know one thing, Janam, because I have conducted this whole interfaith series, right, where I call people from on different spectrum of the same faith. And
yeah,
I also had people who were agnostic and atheist.
yeah.
And I have friends who are atheist and who are wonderful people. Sometimes they are much better than the ones who are, orthodox religious or even spiritual. So that's why I just strongly feel that even if someone is not spiritual or religious, if they have a purpose, then I feel that is enough to anchor somebody. If the purpose is obviously a good purpose
Yeah, that's the
for
thing.
the
Because
betterment
let's say, for
of,
example, if a
yes,
person who is an atheist, the majority of the purpose he might have is like, there is not a purpose that is beyond his body and mind. Uh, a purpose of soul, a purpose of self-realization. And if in
hmm,
most more theistic religions, a purpose to find God, and more
hmm,
religion of like Jainism and Buddhism to realize your own self and to you realize your own potential. Like in atheism, like they don't really believe in something that is beyond this mind and body, and they say that after you're dead there is nothing else. So somehow it feels like the people who I know who are atheist have are very narrow-minded and are very defensive about stuff. But okay, but they are their thinking becomes very shallow. That's what I have seen. But yeah, it might be possible. Of course, I should not be
yeah, but
generalizing anything.
yeah, but there are people who are even very religious who are like that.
Yeah,
So
even
all I
that is
mean
there.
to
So
say
yeah,
is when I talk about, yeah, so people are on all parts of the spectrum, right? So what I mean by purpose is to do something that's for the betterment of people. Like an
yeah,
atheist
okay, yeah,
person can
that
have a
purpose.
purpose to open an orphanage,
Yeah, exactly.
or to start a dog shelter
Mm.
or an animal shelter or
Yeah.
something that's really good, or just a purpose to feed everybody in this one society or in the slums, and this person may just be an atheist. So when I say purpose, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Some purpose in life, like, okay, wherever I live, nobody should go hungry, or there should not be anybody on the street, sleeping, homeless person on the street, even if I'm atheist. Yeah. So that's what I mean. So, like, what I concluded was, and even like, I have friends who are atheists, who are agnostic. By agnostic, like, they are born into religion and then they do
Yeah.
question the religion. Like, they do not follow it to the T, but they are amazing people. And I have met people who are like religious, spiritual, who would be doing yoga and who would be, giving talks daily in their holy site, maybe a temple, church, or mosque, or gurdwara, or even. But then they would be very judgmental and, very unforgiving of people.
But that's the
So,
like that's completely opposite to the point of spirituality, because the conduct and all those things are secondary.
exactly,
Those are important, obviously,
exactly.
but those are secondary.
Hmm.
The initial thing is about thoughts and perception.
Yes.
So
So I guess it's just what's more important is that actions are more important at the end of the day. So
yeah.
even if a person identifies as I'm religious, I'm orthodox, but is being a hypocrite,
Yeah.
then that totally defies a person. And if a person is saying I'm atheist, but is doing the right thing, which is actually by definition pretty spiritual, but is still not identifying as a person who's religious or spiritual, then I feel then that person is, you know, doing something that is described in the holy scriptures or what is taught in our holy places. So when what I just feel is people define themselves or identify with a certain thing, but their actions speak louder.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, I think these actions are what determine where the
Yeah.
person lies.
Yeah, especially in these time when religion has become more questionable because of many
Yes, yes,
people who had the authority
yeah,
in the religion, but they did something wrong through
yes.
the use of it. Yeah.
And a lot of polarization. I have friends who, they were born into a particular faith, but then they stopped practicing it just because they saw that, oh, because of religion, people were killed, or because
Yeah.
of religion, people were not allowed to get married. Because of religion, this did not happen, or something bad happened. So, because our brain makes associations, but a lot of people they associate religion with violence,
Yeah.
religion with just unhappiness or sadism. So I guess it's a lot of people who do not practice religion to the T, or become atheist from being religious, become atheist or become agnostic, is because they've either seen something that has impacted them, or they've personally gone through something in
Yeah.
the name of religion that has negatively impacted them.
Yeah. It's possible. And what I want to ask was, what is your definition of happiness? Like, what do you define happiness? Obviously, success and all those things are a part of our whole happiness. So, what according to you is happiness, and how can a person be happy?
Okay, so for me, happiness is if I'm not attaching myself to a goal and I'm still happy. So, as I said earlier, I find a sort of, I give myself this challenge because I'm trying to train my mind like that. I'm still in the process. So, I'm not perfect, but I give myself this challenge that, okay, even if I'm not getting this goal, I'm still going to be happy. So I feel somewhere detaching from a certain. Earlier, I used to work obsessively. I was obsessive. Do this. I'm going to do everything and
Yeah, it was
all of
same with
that.
me. Yeah.
So, yeah. So now I'm just, but that does not mean that I'm not productive anymore. It's just that my productivity is better and the quality is better because my thoughts are clearer. and I can choose for myself, the kind of content I want to make, the kind of people I want to be around. Just because I know myself a little better than I was yesterday, and because my priorities are more clear right now. So I feel being happy is just a state of mind. And I feel like people say, when they write that you can choose to be happy, I feel there is power in that. Because earlier I never used to understand why do people even say happiness is a choice. So choose happiness. You can choose to be happy. I never realized the importance of that. So I feel there's so much power when we choose, like, despite whatever I've gone through, even if I've had a really bad day, but if I choose to be happy, it does give me some sort of power and reinforces in me that, I have the right to be happy. It's just me allowing myself that, yeah, you have the right to be happy. You are allowed to be happy no matter what. Like, nobody can take this away from you.
At
Because
least, yeah.
yes, there's this whole competition going on out there, and there are 10 people to criticize for every little thing. But I feel if I choose to be happy, that's something nobody can take away from me, because that's my choice and I've actively chosen. So that's something mine. That's mine. So I feel it's the little things. Now, what makes me happy is another thing, the little things. Today I made dal chawal and I made it in the way my nani used to make. So that makes me happy. She's abhi right now in Delhi. I'm in Bangalore, but still I feel some sort of connection. That's something I learned from her. And so these are the little things. Or this chai that I'm having, it's the way my Papa ji used to make. So it reminds me of him. The little things. Or I see a pup, that makes me happy. But
But
again, it
those
comes
things
back to the
can be, yeah,
choice.
very temporary happiness, but it would not be a
Yes,
permanent happiness, a permanent state that is
yes,
defined
yes,
in the
yes.
scriptures. Like,
Yes. So the permanent state I feel is that constant choosing, Like for me, how there's a practice that I developed which helped me immensely. Because through my degree, through my training also, like I already told you, I was going through depression and solid anxiety. Like my anxiety would shoot through the roof, and I would just feel like I'm going to die. It was that bad. And I never knew what was going on with me. I never knew what was wrong with me. So through that time, what helped me overcome, like I told you, faith, that is one thing. That was my anchor. Because I felt less alone in that time. Talking to somebody helped me so much. Because about what I was sexually abused when I was a kid, right? So for 10 years, I never spoke about it. So the first time when I spoke about it, it was like this whole huge weight that was lifted off my chest. And I felt a bit more free, right? That helped me. Meditation. Meditation helped me because back then, like right now, I told you about the meditation I started when I, dove deep into Sikhism, like in around Feb last year. But before that, the meditation I had practiced was just the basic meditation, just let it go. Like the thoughts come and touch. So
yeah,
let the
just be
thoughts
aware
come
of the
and go.
thoughts. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Basic.
But
Yes.
even the,
Just that. Basic
but
meditation.
I've seen that even that is a very difficult thing just be aware of
It is
your own
difficult.
thoughts. Like many a
It's
times,
very
yeah,
difficult. Yes,
because
yes. And especially with such a turbulent mind, like the kind
because in
of
every second there are
monkey
millions of
mind I
thoughts.
had.
Yeah, there are hundreds of
Yes,
thoughts
yes,
coming and
yes,
going. So it's difficult.
yes. And my mind was on, like, overdrive. Because it's like, thoughts have a physical action as well. So
Yeah.
imagine
Thoughts.
sitting,
It
someone
is
who
said
has
now the
anxiety.
cycle is let thoughts come in mind, then it comes through speech, and then it comes to actions.
Yes,
So yeah.
actions. Yes, so it has a physical impact. So
Mhm.
imagine for someone with so much anxiety, I had to sit, I had to decide, I had to choose to sit. So I had to make myself sit. Then the process began. Okay, like think, okay, the thought is coming, and every thought would trigger something, or every thought would create some sort of, so my heart rate would go up, so I would feel uncomfortable. So it's this mind going on overdrive. Okay, so one thought connects to another thought, okay, why this person said this, why, and I used to internalize a lot of things.
And
So
many
because
times
I
the
had
things are not that
yes,
worse, maybe. Like maybe the things
yes,
are not
yes,
really that worse, but our mind
not
makes it
real,
worse.
yes, but we're over analyzing and
Yeah.
internalizing. And because I had so many unresolved issues without any help through it, here I
Yeah. So
was
those
left
everything
with
comes
everything
together,
big.
and yeah,
Yes,
it becomes a chaos in the mind.
exactly. In one whole, like this volcano bursting, right? The other thing, so that's why I said now I see things as they are. Back then I used, and I'm much calmer. Like, thank goodness, I'm a lot more calm now, right? And I can really process my thoughts till
Yeah,
the
because
emotion I feel.
even right now, even anyone, even a saint can have some certain thoughts that
Yes,
maybe
yes,
there might be something.
that is
But
constant.
the
Yes,
main important
exactly.
thing is to be aware about it, and next time try to just
Yes,
try to somehow
yes,
control, not just control thoughts,
yes.
but more about avoiding those thoughts. Like I had heard a
Hmm.
very good example. It was about a person who started just meditation in some Buddhist pagoda, and his mind was completely running. It was a chaos. So the guru said that okay, whenever you get a bad thought, take the black pebble and put it in the jar,
Hmm.
and if you get a good thought, take the white pebble and put it in the other jar. And initially, the entire jar with the black pebble was full, while there was hardly one or two uh,
Hmm.
pebbles in the white jar.
White pebbles in the
So
other jar. Hmm.
as the meditation increased, and as the thought, he got more aware about his thoughts, and as he got more towards his own self, realizing that who he is in itself, after a few time, slowly and steadily, finally this thing became opposite, and it was the white
Hmm.
jar which was completely full, while the black
Yes,
one was hardly
yes,
a couple of. So meditation helps. It's a slow process, of course,
yes,
because
yes,
from
yes.
infinite, like from uncountable time, we have been, or just if we take just this life alone, every day has
Hmm.
been some or the other things going on, good or bad, and all those things is
Yes,
getting towards us. So it takes time, and yeah, it is a slow process. But once the
hmm.
perception goes right towards the right mindset, if we go towards right mindset, it just becomes like a very easy thing. Like it becomes easy.
Yes. Yes, because scientifically, okay, research has shown after 8 weeks of meditation, just after 8 weeks, they saw in the brains of the meditators, because meditation, there's an increase in alpha waves, right? There are alpha,
Yeah,
beta, theta waves. So there's an increase in alpha waves. So the gray matter that was associated with, more happiness and all the positive feelings and improved memory, all that had increased, and the gray matter that was associated with depression, negativity, anxiety, sadness, all of that had decreased. Yes. So scientifically also they have, that's why everybody I feel, they push for meditation. There are corporates tell
yeah,
their
yeah,
employees,
they held a
yes,
session of meditations and all those things.
yes,
Even if you look
exactly.
at all the
And
meditation centers and all, the people mostly who go towards meditation center are the people who are like owners of multinational companies or managers
yes,
or
yes, you
corporates.
have so much
Like they are
stress.
in far more chaos compared to a normal person who is like
Yes,
earning uh,
yes,
daily wages. So yeah,
yes.
it,
And I feel that, through all these techniques, one more thing that I started doing was listening to positive affirmations. That helped me so much. That really, really helped me so much.
listening
So
to
on
positive.
YouTube, there are affirmations,
Oh yeah,
affirmations. So yeah, there are so many playlists, right? These free playlists on YouTube by
yeah.
amazing people. Yeah. So I just happened to download one. I forgot the name of the person, but I'll send that to you later and probably could share it. So he had amazing positive affirmation. So I would fall asleep to that. So
Hmm.
they say, like even at a subconscious level, that does help to rewire. Because when
Yeah.
we're sleeping, our subconscious mind is super awake. So that's the best time to,
Is in, for
imbibe
example, in
knowledge that,
yeah, like for example in Vedanta they say that sanskaras are built inside your subconscious, and those come out like for
yes,
example like bubbles. So that's the reason sometimes we just get angry without any reason, or we get frustrated without any reason, and those come out because there has been so many
Yes.
sanskaras from so
Yes.
many births, and yeah. So,
Yes, exactly. So
and that's
it's
the
all
reason
in the subconscious.
always, even if you are not doing any activity, any spiritual activity, your thoughts should be like, for
Yes.
example, like I'm writing something, or maybe I'm just watching or working. Even my thoughts should be going towards spirituality and all those things, and
Hmm.
it should be a continuous process. So slowly and steadily
Yes, yes,
the
yes,
mind becomes habituated with those thoughts, and automatically the
yes.
darker thoughts, but I've seen many people don't want to take the first step. Like if we ask any person
Hmm.
that why don't you just spend 1 hour, just 1 hour alone completely, without any disturbance, without
Ah,
phone call, and just be with yourself. But they are scared. They are like, no, I cannot
yes,
be
yes,
with my own self.
yes,
It's just
yes,
chaos inside. So I would rather want any
yes,
distraction so that I can just avoid my thoughts. So
yes.
like,
That's a big thing. That's a big
and
one that
social
you
media
mentioned.
in a
Like a
very
lot of
nice,
people are not willing
yeah,
because it's like a mirror, right? All these things, meditation or whatever we do to improve ourselves,
yeah,
or to grow closer to ourselves, or the higher power we believe in, they're all mirrors. So it's everything shows us, we say, right, our inner demons and everything. It all comes out at that. So it's very uncomfortable.
yeah.
It's
Especially
very
initially is
uncomfortable,
very,
right?
because if
Yes,
a person doesn't have a teacher and he's just doing it through a book, or maybe has listened to some lectures or
yes,
anything online, it becomes far more difficult.
yes,
And
yes, yes,
initial stages are really difficult because all these dark things that are coming out. It's like if a
yes.
diamond is in a mud, in a keychad, in a mud,
In a kitchen,
and
huh?
you have to
Yes,
clean the diamond. So initially you have to
yes,
put your hand inside and take it out. So entire hand will
yes,
get dirty. But slowly and steadily you can
yes,
wash it and become like
yes,
have the real diamond. But diamond has never
yes.
left his quality. It's just that the mud
Hmm.
has completely surrounded it. So
You're so
initially it
right.
becomes, yes, difficult.
Yes. There's this one practice my friend had gone to. It's called Vipassana.
Yeah, it's a
Vipassana.
practice of
So in that, for
meditation.
10 days, they keep quiet, right? And they wear the badges of
Yeah,
I'm
and
silent.
they are
Yes.
completely, yeah, they have
Yes.
taken mon, so they do not speak, do
Yes.
not
So
act.
that is very, so not everybody is able
And
to
I
go
heard
through
that,
those 10 days.
yeah, and I've heard that people
Just,
like they start crying and they become. There are many people I have
yes,
seen
yes.
that they have become
That
suicidal, and
release
yeah,
happens.
because all
Yes,
those
yes,
kachra which is there has completely coming out.
yes,
Ek saath
yes,
pura,
yes,
yeah. So yeah,
yes.
these are the things which
So
happen.
I think that's like it's a detox, right? A mental detox. Like
Yeah,
going
yeah,
into that
totally.
program. And then they say, okay, Vipassana is seeing things as they are. The basic of everything is just to see things as it is, right? Without
Yeah,
internalizing. So in
I think
Vipassana, they say the ones who
majority.
completed 10 days, they
Yeah,
were like, our mind is so free now. Even like a bird or even a butterfly sitting on a leaf would make me laugh. Like I would feel that pure joy, undiluted joy. Because otherwise, sometimes when we have to feel joy, some of us have suppressed, like me also. I would probably, I'm not feeling joy as it should be felt. And I'm still on my journey. But I do want to feel emotions as they are supposed to be felt.
yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, in
And
yeah, spiritually also they say now that once the chaos is gone, the water becomes
yes,
so still, like you can, it becomes like a clear water. The mind becomes like a
yes,
clear water. You can just see
yes,
through it. Uh, that's
yes.
how the, yeah, metaphorically they have
And I
put it.
also feel like, obstacles are going to be there, right?
Yeah,
Obstacles,
because
the
this is
only
the
constant
nature of
is
samsara. Yeah,
problems and difficulty.
yeah,
And yes, the rule of nature. Like there are going to be obstacles, right? It's never going to be smooth. So I just
because
feel like we cannot train to avoid those obstacles or to escape it. Like we've got to train to cope up with it.
yeah, it's more about building up the perseverance to face all the obstacles
Yes.
rather than
And
just
then
running away from it.
resilience.
And yeah, the is the
Exactly.
nature of the samsara that the obstacles are going to be there. There will be
Yes,
old age,
yes,
there will be diseases, there will be death. All those things are going to be there.
yes.
That's the reality of the life. But more important thing is, are those things going to matter you? If it matters, then it will hurt you more. like the main
Yes.
problem is that if, let's say,
Attachment.
someone just criticizes a person, uh, uh,
Yes.
and you become hurt because he has criticized. No, just you get hurt because you think your ego gets hurt,
Yes.
because there
Yes.
are many people who
Exactly.
are going to criticize. Like everyone has their own mindset, their own thoughts, and their own issues.
Yes.
And so that's the thing. The major issues are inside, while we think that we should be fighting that person who has criticized us,
Hmm.
rather than just
Hmm.
fighting with our own self, that fighting with all these issues that are there inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes.
And what what do you think? I've read recently more. I've seen about the social validation thing. Everyone wants to get
Hmm.
validated. It's good way, obviously in a good way, but it has
Yes.
become so
Yes.
huge, especially in the younger generation. It has become like a huge thing, like social validation.
Yes.
Rather than going away from it, people are like accepting it, that okay, we need social validation, so we are doing this. Rather than thinking,
Hmm.
why should we need a social validation? Why can't we just be happy with who we are, rather than
Yes.
like thinking about the opposite thing? And that has led to things like, let's say, any social media website which grows. People are just like, oh, how many followers do I have, or how many
The
subscribers?
likes and all of that. Yes. 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 This is a big one, Janam. Like I
And
have been
they
thinking
don't accept
about
it.
this so much.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
people are like,
People
when you talk
hard.
to people, they will say that yes, we have issues of social validation, so we are trying to fulfill it by getting more views and by getting more likes. But the focus should be about
Oh
that.
yeah.
I
They
should
make it
not have
sound
these issues.
cool.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Exactly. It should not be a need.
yeah,
Getting social validation should not be a need, right?
yes.
And that too being fulfilled by social media, which is not something that's real,
It's complete
right?
illusion.
It's
And
not, yeah, it's just
one
something
mistake and
that we,
things might go completely
yeah,
opposite. Like it's
exactly,
so risky actually, the social
exactly,
media. Yeah.
exactly. One about this, what I'd like to say, what I realized is there are content creators who run social media as their bread and butter. They earn through it.
Yeah,
There are others who
that's happened.
do not, it is not their bread and butter, right? So the ones for who it is their bread and butter, I do understand that this is how they run their business. This is what brings food to their table. But and even for those who it's not their bread and butter, I don't know. The thing what I feel is that it's the method by which they get the number of followers and likes, the quality of content, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I would not agree with, personally, I do not follow these trends and all.
Hmm.
These
Yeah, you're not having
trends.
much aware.
And I'm a dancer. Personally speaking, I'm a dancer, but I do not appreciate Bollywood music so much. But what I have seen is, and I do not follow these Bollywood trends and all, like Husn Hai Suhana trend, or, all of these things. But I do see, like, it's a lot easier and faster for someone to get the number of followers and likes when they do those trends.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And then
easy.
it is justified by, okay, it is my business, it is, or somebody really likes it.
Yeah,
Maybe
if
they
it's
really
that
enjoy Bollywood.
yeah, if
They
their
love it.
livelihood
They do it very happily. It gives them the dopamine rush and makes them feel happy.
but okay,
Yeah,
if
fine. But
yeah, if that is
yeah,
something that is feeding them, and it's their own the
yes, it
only
does
thing.
create a cycle. It does create a
Yeah.
cycle. It does create that whole loop of, okay, I'm going to get these followers and likes only if I post that.
Hmm.
you know and then of course it is justified by, yeah, so I'm paying my own rent, you are not paying my rent, so who are you to ask me that?
Yeah.
That sort of a thing, right? But it does create a loop. And another thing I feel is, like, coming back to the quality of content. If someone posts videos that are not about the mainstream topics, right, and a different type of topic, maybe that's something that's a social issue, or
Yeah.
something that
Or
is
something
more
like
personal
for example,
related.
I post about philosophy and astrology and
Yes,
things.
philosophy,
So
for
it's not
example,
something that
yes,
is mainstream. So I'm not going to get
mainstream.
views or likes or anything.
Yes. So
But
the
at least
journey,
even one person,
exactly.
yeah, even one person watches my
Yeah,
videos, it's enough for me.
it
So
makes a difference.
yeah,
Exactly,
it makes a difference.
exactly. Yes. So yes, I was going to say
So I think
exactly the
social
same
media has become more.
thing.
I think yeah, I think what has happened
Yeah,
is the thing is people are already stressed out because of the work and the entire day. So for them,
exactly. So
it has
they
become more
come,
entertainment.
yes,
That social media should be more
entertainment.
entertainment, not
You're so
education,
right.
because they are
You're
already
so right.
frustrated. Yeah, so that's
You're
the reason.
you're absolutely right. You know exactly what has been running through my mind for like years together now is this, what you've just said, that
Yeah,
people come to social media to de-stress.
yeah,
They're like,
just a
I don't
yeah
want to sit and
distraction.
listen to a lecture or someone telling me what my internal issues are. Like,
Yeah,
you know, like, or to learn
or
something
listening to
about
podcasts like
this.
1 hour, 2 hour podcast about mental health. Yeah, nobody is
Yes,
going to
yes,
do
yes. Nobody, yes. But I just feel like the journey for content creators who make that kind of content, right, is slower, but it is rewarding nonetheless.
yeah,
Because these are topics that have to be talked about, these are neglected, right? And like the same thing as you said, even if it impacts one mind and plants a seed of perspective in one mind, that is a big accomplishment.
yeah,
That is a big, and it is quality. It is quality.
it's
So
about
I just
quality
see
and
it as quality over quantity. That's
yeah.
how I see it.
And this things more become kind of self therapy rather than like a viewer will. Yeah, of course, if it helps any viewer, it's far more better. But it's our own learning process, like meeting people who are from the same
Yes,
field
yes,
or similar field and talking about all this stuff,
yes.
because we don't get to uh, talk about this stuff like unless someone is lucky and they have their
Mhm.
network circles who are full of philosophers and
Yes. A
uh,
safe space to
psychologists,
discuss.
yeah, yeah, psychologists. But
Yes,
yeah, so internet can be used in this way, but majority of the time it's rather used
yes,
for entertainment purpose. And okay, yeah, sometimes
yes.
a mind requires entertainment. Sometimes it is possible that it's okay to like for example, I like to play chess a lot. So even if I open my YouTube channel, I'll follow something that's chess related, and I'll
Hmm.
spend half an hour or 1 hour watching a chess stream or playing chess. But then that's it.
Hmm.
Like if I spend 10 hours doing just same thing, then there are issues.
Hmm.
So yeah, sometimes it's
Yes,
fine
yes.
to watch and these things, but majority
Hmm.
of the time
Most of the time, yes.
yeah,
And one more thing, Janam, is like, specifically about content creators, what content creators go through. And I've experienced this personally. Like, if I am consuming more than, because I am more of a creative person, and
yeah,
that really makes me happy. Now, this is one of the things that make me happy, creating some quality content that's helping people, that
yeah,
helps people, that helps, plant seeds of perspective. That is something that makes me happy, right? Now, if I feel overwhelmed, and if social media, if through social media I start feeling bad about myself, that would happen if I am consuming more than I'm creating.
yes,
So I feel there should be like a 70-30 or a 80-20 thing, where more I'm creating more than I'm consuming. Because if that is reversed, then I feel the problem lies there.
yeah.
Like when I'm consuming and what I'm consuming, because everything that we consume, it does go and sit in the subconscious mind
And it affects the mind. Like for
and
example,
does have impact.
a very simple thing. If we go and watch a movie, let's say we watch an action movie, and just we
Yes.
get outside the theater, or let's say we watch a haunted movie, a movie related
Hmm.
to ghosts and all those things,
Hmm.
and we go home, and our thoughts are like
Yes,
it
yes.
kind of
The light.
at least for
Those.
that day, at least for that night,
Yes, yes.
we get
Happens
scared.
with me a
So
lot.
just one
Yes,
and a
yes.
half hour, 2 hour movie can affect our mind that our entire night is ruined. Uh,
Yes,
so
exactly.
let's say someone who is consuming this from years and completely just focused on
Yes.
uh, online entertainment stuff,
Hmm.
how his mind becomes more more and more inclined towards
Yes.
those things.
And dependent.
Yeah, and especially if you look at the shows and TV shows, whatever they are right now, are focused more on, like, say, for example, they show alcohol and drugs and
Yes, yes.
sex and all
Definitely.
those things. So
Yes,
mind becomes
yes.
violence, especially violence is just increased. So all those
Yes.
things affect the mind. Same way
Yes.
are the video games. Majority of the video games are violent. Like, yes, they have
Yes. Yes.
storyline and all those things, but
That's a big problem, you know. Yeah, and little boys and
and
girls
people
playing
think
those
that
video
they are
games.
trying to destroy their frustration through playing those games, but that's not how anger
But
should be
it
managed.
does have an impact because it
Yeah.
normalizes the wrong things.
Yes,
So
yes,
slowly, what
yes.
is happening is normalizing this behavior. So they'll say, "Oh, I actually won those games. I actually got money after winning those games because of that." So it's got to
It
be
makes a
normal.
person more competitive, more angry.
More,
Yeah,
yes, aggressive, all of this,
more
and it
distracted.
normalizes that behavior. Exactly, exactly. And I also feel like social media, right? If someone who is, it has a lot to do with that instant gratification, right? Like now, because of social media, even if it's WhatsApp, like if I'm messaging you, hey, let's meet for dinner or something, and if till you're not replying, probably it would just trigger anxiety in me, or somebody, if somebody does not reply, that person gets
Like,
angry,
a very
or
simple thing is, let's say a video has 100 comments, but our focus goes towards that one single comment which has said something
negative.
criticizing about it, not the
Yes,
99
yes.
good comments. So that's how the
Yes.
human mind is working, and
That is,
it
yeah,
just
the
gets
negative
more triggered.
bias,
Yeah,
which is a survival instinct,
yeah.
because the negative bias is always higher than the positive. So that one negative thing is just going to have this
It's
whole,
going to ruin our own entire day.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
this is
just
what happens.
diminishes all the, yes. So, and I also feel like the blueprint, you know, people who are successful on social media, successful when I'm saying, you know, in terms of their numbers,
Yeah,
because what is social media success? The numbers, the likes, the, you know, all of that, and the followers, right? So in terms of that, I feel the kind of blueprint that they leave for other people to reach that, right? Like how have they gotten there? So I feel that is very important, because there are a lot of young people who look up to these people, and they call them influencers and all, right? So I feel it's a very big responsibility for someone who's on social media to show the right blueprint or a healthy blueprint
yeah.
to, you know, reach that aim. So like
Because
I
the
said,
most
some
of the young
things
people
are
are going.
instant,
Yeah,
some things take time, some things do take time. And like you were saying.
yeah. Majority of the younger people will have idols. Like, for example, they are going to idolize someone who is popular in on YouTube,
Yes,
or who are
yes, yes,
person. They are not going to idolize some monk. Like, they are not going to idolize Swami Vivekanand. Like, if they do, it's
exactly.
the best thing. But that's not how general perception works. People are going to idolize who are actors, who are
Or the
majority of the
glam,
actors,
the
or a
fame.
sports person. And if those
Yes,
actors and sports person get corrupt or do things that are illegal and those stuff, it somehow kind of influences the people who
yes,
idolize
yes.
them.
And
So
which happens a lot, which happens a lot, right?
it becomes far more difficult. So yeah, overall
Yes.
speaking, social anxiety is there. It's there in every person, in majority of the people in the world, unless someone has become a
Hmm.
monk called self-realized guru. But
Yeah. And you know, Janam, I just want to share one more thing about this. I feel, you know, social media, right?
hmm,
Uh, Earlier when social media was not there, and when if someone had social anxiety, if suppose I would feel odd going with a, you know, with so many people at a restaurant, and that would trigger some anxiety in me, for example, um, I would force myself to get out of my comfort zone,
yeah,
or to come out of my bubble and talk. But right now, that's not the case, because everybody has their phone and internet. And so it gives people that option that, okay, even if I'm, you know, with a group of friends and I'm uncomfortable, I have my phone, I have my social media
yeah,
where I
and
have followers and
because
where I'm getting likes.
yeah, because
And so, where is the personal development that's happening,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Because in my
Because in
childhood,
real life,
yeah,
yes, so meeting that same social media celebrity in real life might just be very different.
yeah.
So
Because
maybe
even
that person we see is like really super happy there because that is that person's comfort zone,
yeah,
right? Shooting in the
if you
house over
look
here,
at
it's
majority of those,
comfortable.
yeah, if you look at majority of those TV shows host of the past, like for example Johnny Carson or David Letterman, all those people who
Yes,
had ruled the late night TV shows were actually
yes,
very introvert people. Like they were
yes,
very
yes, yes.
secluded, introvert, lonely people in their personal life. Though they were showing a persona, like they were really like larger than life when they came in front of a camera or in front of an audience, but in their
Hmm.
personal life they were completely isolated and lonely people.
Yeah, but
And that
that
shows,
thing, Janam,
yeah,
that is like they're actually talking in front of an audience, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
all those shows they do have an audience.
yeah. But this
Like
proves
what
that
I'm
people
saying
who are in front
specifically
of,
social media, where there is
yeah,
nobody sitting in front of you, and
mhm,
so it's like very comfortable. Like alone in my room, I would just keep my camera
yeah,
and be very open and be very comfortable. But same me going after this, going to another place where there are so many, it might just like personally, I'm an outgoing person, right? Like I love to talk to people. I could even approach a stranger and strike a conversation. But
mhm.
not everybody is like that, and that's
Yeah, like
okay.
for example,
But
I,
social media makes an introvert more of an introvert.
yeah, yeah.
Or
Because I remember
yeah,
like
or
I
this.
used to be completely
Mhm.
introvert. For me, it was really difficult to talk to people, especially if people are in groups, and that was the way it was. But what I used to do, because like 10 years back, social media was not really big. So what I did
Haha.
was go to groups, go to large groups, and just talk. Like don't think
Yes,
about it,
yes,
just face
yes,
your fear.
yes.
For example, I also had a fear of water, so I learned swimming, and I used to
Haha.
go every day
Yes,
to swim.
face
So
it.
that's how the fear should be.
Yes, face it till you make it.
Just directly
Yes,
face
yes,
it. Whatever is going to happen, just face it. That's how it should be
yes,
done, rather than doing
yes,
distractions and going the
yes,
other way around. Is direct facing of
yes,
fear is far more important.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. At the same time, there are some personalities who are introvert, and when they get social media,
yeah,
probably it improves their confidence. Somewhere,
because they
probably,
are on an
their
authority.
esteem was affected, and so social media improves their confidence, and they become extroverts, or they,
Yeah,
you know,
and uh,
they feel more open or
yes,
more.
because I remember
Yes.
when Johnny Carson, who is considered as the biggest
Mhm.
TV late night host of America
Mhm.
of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So he was asked that he was a very lonely or a secluded person in personal life. Why was he capable of just being such a larger than life person in front of camera? So he said just one thing, that he had the authority, like it was his show. So he was the one having the
Yes.
authority, which helped him to dictate
Yes.
so well.
Yes.
So
So if a
authority
person
helps a lot.
feels heard, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because
Yes,
in a
I
group,
feel for that
let's say in a group,
confidence.
everyone is equal. So it becomes really difficult. It becomes like
Yes,
alpha male. So someone is trying to
yes,
like
yes,
become
yes,
the leader, someone else is trying. But
yes,
let's say, for
yes.
example, I'm in my office and I'm sitting at my desk and some client is coming towards me. So I have the authority. So I have more authority
Yes,
to
yes,
speak.
yes, yes,
So I become a completely
yes,
different personality there. So yeah, these are the
yes,
things.
exactly. Yes, that's what then I feel it's just that, there are people on different spots of the same spectrum,
Yeah, yeah,
and depending on the situation, something would just bring out the best in that person.
yes, yes,
And the
absolutely.
same situation may just push the other person down.
Yeah,
So I feel it's just
like
that.
and
For
there's
someone.
also about what you want to talk about. Like for example, if someone talks to me
Uh,
about philosophy and life and spirituality and all those things, I would go on
yes,
for 10
yes,
hours. But if someone is talking about with me about something else, like let's say
yes,
fashion or
yes.
Bollywood or anything,
Hmm.
I might not
Yes.
even able to
So
talk
the
for 5 minutes.
interest,
So yeah,
yes, the interest matters.
yeah, so that's also a very important thing.
Hmm.
So, what's the end conclusion of this podcast? Like, we should end it in a in a with a conclusion. Yeah. So, what
Yeah.
do you think?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think going by a recap of whatever we've spoken would be
Yeah, we
pretty
have spoken a
complicated
lot of
because
things.
we've
Yeah.
gone here and there, we've spoken a lot, we've covered a lot of content. I would just say one thing that um, the most important thing is having clarity, you know, clarity of our priorities in life, having clarity of thoughts so that we can take the right decision. So whenever I am faced with a stressful situation, I should have that clarity and confidence to face it, right? Instead of escaping it. So there are techniques, you know, it's not impossible. It's not like some skill
But
somebody is
there is
born
one
with.
thing.
It can be
Major
developed.
the biggest problem
Yes,
is the majority of our decisions are triggered through our own, uh, like say jealousy or ego. Those things come in the
yes,
middle and they take over. So that's the reason the
yes.
decisions become more negative, and our
Detrimental.
desires and
Yes,
everything become
exactly.
negative. So that's also one
Exactly.
thing.
So that clarity should be there. And like, you know, to know, okay, why do I want this? Being aware, see, decision, we should have the clarity, okay, why am I deciding this? What do I want? We
Yeah,
should
and we
know
should be
what
more
we want
neutral about
firstly.
things, because
Exactly.
if we are looking
Yes.
at things with one perspective, it becomes far more
Mhm.
difficult.
Yes.
We have to look at it.
I feel, you know, even if it is between two people, if I'm one of the people in a conversation I'm having, I
Yeah.
always like seeing it from a third person point of view.
Mhm.
So detaching myself from what I have felt and seeing it from a third person point of view. Okay, like Jenam said this, Sonia said this.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is what Sonia said, and maybe this person overreacted. Okay, how could this have been, you know, better? Okay, how do we resolve this? Probably, you know. So I feel that is a tip that really works.
Yeah.
Stepping out of my own shoes and seeing it from a third person point of view, that really helps. And there are definitely ways, you know, we could train our mind and rewire our mind, because there are a lot of things we feel that, oh god, like I don't want to probably live anymore because there's so much that has happened and there's no hope, but there is hope. You know, we always have the
And
power
it's
to rewire our mind and
and it's less about
subconscious.
hope, because there is a possibility there might not be a better tomorrow. But the more important thing is that, not hope, but it's that whatever situation it is, you're still able to live it. You have the perseverance, you have the discipline,
Yes,
and you have the right perception that even
yes,
if you are
yes.
in pain, nothing matters. Like for example, in many of the stories, it is said that monks used to sit for meditation for years, and there used to be insects biting, and still it didn't hurt them. Like they were in such a state that all these
Hmm,
outer things didn't really matter. Even a
hmm.
insect came and bite, like uh, hurt them, but it didn't matter. So it's more about living
Yes,
through pain and pleasure. Like pleasure
yes,
and pain should not matter to you, rather than
yes.
having an hope. Because many of times what happens is, especially the motivation speakers and all, many of motivation, they
Hmm,
show that there is a better tomorrow. There is something that is far more, that is going to be good. But
hmm,
let's say in one of the psychological books I read, the book's name is Flow, and I read that
hmm.
a person gets to 50s or 60s, and he says that what happened, like I was going to earn all those big bucks, I was going to be so famous, I was going to have a good family, but right now I'm 60 and I have few years to live, and like what is my life
Hmm,
now? So that's the thing. The having the false hope is also a bad thing, because if that doesn't
hmm.
happen, people will get
Yes.
miserable. It's rather than just living in the moment, living in the present. Don't think much
Hmm,
of it, much of the future or the past, because even past anxieties always trigger a person. So I feel like
hmm.
future, of course, you have to think a bit about future, but rather just live in the moment and focus more towards the right mindset. Like focus more towards your own
Hmm,
self rather than focusing in outside. Because the world is going to always change. Like it's changing every second, and there are like
hmm.
normal internet trends. Every month there is a new internet trend. So how much you are going to keep up?
Yes.
So it's just be yourself, realize who you are, and just be happy about what you are rather than focusing on what you want to be or something.
Hmm.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, Janam, by hope, I actually meant like, you know, if suppose Just an example, hypothetically, if
Yeah.
I feel today that, yeah, I'm in such a super stressful situation, and I am like this, my mind is so negative, full of negative thoughts, and now nothing can happen. So when I say that there is hope, I mean that there is hope to rewire our mind and subconscious,
Yeah.
and then take it from there. Like, it's not like I am like this, so I'm never going to change. No, we
No,
can
no.
actually change and train our mind to be positive, and
And
like you said, live in the moment.
yeah.
Exactly what you said, to live in the moment. So, there is hope to train our brain, basically, and
Yeah.
rewire our subconscious so that we can live in the moment and see things as they are.
Because very famous dialogue it is not that more you run towards happiness, more you become
The
sad.
more it,
Because
exactly.
you are running towards happiness, that means that you
Yes,
are not
yes, yes.
happy. So that's the
Yes,
paradox. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. It's a paradox. One problem that I have with all these mental health coaches and all is they try to the way they market is actually making people feel like they need something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they need something. Like, there is one psychologist, I forgot her name, but she used to tell her clients that, you're enough. Just 10 times in a day, say that I am enough. I am
Yeah.
enough. I'm enough. So you have to accept that yes, you are enough. And then, you'll see things changing from then on. But it's just that one line that makes such a huge difference. Because the way, like even you said, the way people sell their, self-help classes and self-help books and coach,
Sorry, your voice is not coming.
after a point,
Yeah.
self-help books become toxic because it would just make me feel like I'm not good enough. I have a problem with everything, and every step I take, every thought I have, is problematic. So I really feel like self-help books also, when we read it with a pinch of salt, and keep a time limit, till where we can read it, and not be so hard on ourselves and not internalize everything. Or even these when the coaches say that, like you said, that hope of tomorrow, like tomorrow will, exactly that thing where they say that,
That's a
tomorrow
illusion. Yeah.
you can live, you can be successful, you can take control of your life, you can live the life you want to. Yeah, and exactly the way you said, like, appreciate the present, right?
Yeah.
And we
And
have the
yeah.
power and the tools to live in the present.
Yeah, because many people think that okay, let's go to Himalaya and meditate there and we will become happy. But once they come back to the cities and they get stuck in the traffic,
Exactly.
their
Exactly.
anxieties and everything will get triggered.
Same
So
thing, the
that's the reason.
same
Even
thing.
if you read any spiritual book like Upanishads or any Jain scripture or Buddhist scripture, it's all about realizing who you are at the moment. Like you
Yes.
know that who you are. If you know that who you are, these things will never matter because all these things are false attachments. That these are false illusions.
Yes.
Like in Vedanta, they say
My, my.
Maya, or in
Oh my.
Jainism, it is said as Mithyatva, that all these things are false beliefs that you have towards
Yes.
the world. That a
Hmm.
person, like a person can do something to me. That's a false belief. It's my own
Hmm.
perception which is harming me
Interpretation.
or making me happy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's
It's the way we interpret, right? Like, even right now, what you are saying, like someone next to me would just interpret it differently, and I would interpret it differently. In the end, it's
yeah,
how
because everyone has their own
my brain is
capabilities,
interpreting,
own
my
thinking
mind is,
power. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it is influenced by experiences, by my mood,
Experiences, your own thoughts,
by
your own
everything,
intelligence.
by
Yeah,
everything. Yes.
many things
Yes.
will take place at a time. But yeah,
Yes.
and
So
yeah,
basically, we
we,
should live in the present and be grateful and appreciate everything and appreciate ourselves, because, oftentimes we forget how privileged we are.
yeah,
So I
that's
feel
another thing.
that is so
We always look
important.
at what people are
Other,
ahead of us
out,
materially, but
who's
yeah, we
better?
forget. Yeah,
But
yeah,
we've come such a long way, and we are so blessed to have so much to even be living right now,
yeah. It's such a,
having this conversation. So I feel, these are the little things that empower us.
and I think from outside, many things like social service and all these things help a lot, because you get that compassion
Yes.
towards others, and those
Yes.
feeling like compassion and all those feelings help you, help your depressed mind to be more positive when
Yes.
yeah,
And not being self-centered anymore. Like you
yeah,
said,
you become more
compassion.
selfless,
Yes.
and you look at the world
Yes.
and
And
you look
humble.
at
And
things.
humble.
Yeah,
Yes.
so those
Exactly.
things help a lot. So I think tip for someone who is suffering from mental issues or stress or all those things. Of course, the clinical issues are there. For that, he needs
Yes.
to visit a doctor. He needs to see.
Talk to somebody, even
Yeah,
if it's a close friend who the
yeah,
person trusts. If you trust somebody, talk to somebody.
and always
It's
talk
very
to the experts.
important
Always spend.
to
I think
articulate,
people spend lakhs of rupees in gym and all those things on physical fitness, but they are not going to spend a single rupee in
invest anything on,
consultation.
yeah,
Yeah, a
which
mental
helps in
consultation.
personal development. Personal
Yeah,
development is so important, right?
yeah.
So,
So I think
um,
the
and
biggest
I
tip
feel,
is
one
that
thing
always,
there now,
yeah,
which is a stark difference in the systems is, in the beginning, we discussed about the educational system, right? Not giving attention to mental health.
yeah,
The other thing is, even at jobs, abroad, they would give their employee leave to even go see a therapist if they see that the employee is getting burnt out at work.
yeah,
Burnout is real, right? Even like doctors, engineers, corporate, whoever's getting burnt out, uh, abroad they would say, okay, take leave, go
yeah,
see a therapist, we'll book your appointment, go take, consultation, or just sit at home, recover, go on a trip, something. Or they would organize some sort of meditation or dance or something,
yeah, all
Zumba or
those,
something for them.
yeah,
But in India, there is so much exploitation, and a lot of places, the bosses, they make their employees feel bad about themselves. And
yeah.
I think this should stop. That you're not enough, you are incompetent. No matter how much the employee does, the person is burnt out.
Especially
It's
if you look at
reflecting
the
in the
sales and
quality
marketing,
that they should
yeah, especially if you look
probably
at the
do
fields of
numbers. Yes,
sales and
yes, their
marketing,
sales,
yeah,
the targets,
yeah,
meet
and
the
they
targets.
like they become unethical. They start lying
Yeah,
just to
so like
complete their targets.
exactly.
So
So the
the customer is
quality
suffering
is
at the end.
compromised.
Yeah,
Exactly. Or even in the medical field, like or dentistry and all that, patients suffer just because the doctor is burned out, right?
exactly.
And there is someone, the boss of the doctor has just probably threatened the doctor that, okay, if you don't do this, if you don't meet these targets, if you don't this, then you know we're going to terminate you, or it could be anything. But this happens. Burnout is real. And I feel, even in India, in all the systems, education, healthcare, wherever, whoever's working wherever, you
Hmm.
know, people have got to, the bosses or the people in authority should keep a close check on their employees and see
Yeah,
who is, sometimes people may not say, but they are going through something, right? They may just be embarrassed to say it, or they may be scared that they'll get terminated and not get a paycheck at the end to sustain themselves. So I think it's the responsibility of the bosses
yeah, yeah. True.
to see this and to address it, not just to see it and sit passively, but to address it and not be so hard on employees who are hardworking
Yeah.
and work with integrity, and just probably talk to them, create a safe space for people who are dealing with
And
mental health
yeah, and I
issues.
think employees are the biggest reason for a company's success. Like without employees, I don't think
Yes,
any company can survive.
yes. And they
Customers
say
are not
happy
that important compared
employee,
to
happy,
employees.
yeah, great business.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So, and if employees feel cared for, they're going to put in triple, quadruple the effort, right?
yeah,
But if employees don't feel like, if employees feel exploited, then it's just going to have such a detrimental impact on the relations, on
yeah,
on the team, on the business aspect, on the targets, on the numbers, on the
mm,
clients.
yeah, yeah.
It affects every level. So I think this is another important thing. So
Yeah,
really,
it can go
someone
on for.
going through mental health issues, talk about it.
Yeah, I think the discussion can go on to another couple of hours. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes,
but I think
yes,
we'll
yes,
conclude it with important points. First thing is always talk to someone, especially if a
yes.
person is an
Always.
expert. talk to an
Or
expert.
just journaling, writing it down.
Yeah, this
That
helps.
also
Yes, yes,
helps.
yes, this helps.
Or find
Like
some
the
sort
first
of
thing.
creative outlet, singing,
Yeah,
dancing, painting.
yeah. Second thing is do social work. It helps a lot. Third thing is take breaks. Like taking break is really important. I think these
Yes,
three
yes,
things are
very
really
important.
important. And for a person like me, I would say spirituality is really important. Like,
Yes, yes.
but maybe if
And when
someone
you take
is an
breaks,
atheist,
also, yes, also eat properly, good food, healthy
yeah,
food.
nutrition and all those things.
It
Try to
impacts
avoid,
your intuition.
yeah, and try to
Yeah,
take break off from
sleep.
social media and entertainment. Like they say
Yes,
now that now always having the dopamine hit is not good. Like there has to be something that is opposite of dopamine. Like not to have any dopamine. To
yes,
take
yes.
such a break
So that
to
you
become
value it.
boring. Like
So there is,
to spend one day
yeah,
completely bored, like completely boring day, which helps a lot.
yes.
So yeah.
So that
So
you know
these
the
are like
value of
four or
it
five
and you enjoy.
tips. Yeah,
Yes,
just look
yes,
at the nature, look at the surroundings, and just
yes,
yeah. And yeah, these are, I think these are major tips for people. What else can be
yes. I
said?
hope
I think major
this
tips are,
helps.
yeah. And yeah,
Very
this went,
important sleep. Please, people don't, go on these crash, uh, like not sleeping, crash dieting, not eating healthy food.
yeah, sleep
This
cycle is really
impacts even the
important.
mental health.
That's one more issue we never talked about, that people are sleeping,
Junk
like the sleep cycle is not
sleep.
perfect. And
It's
sleep is
yes,
really
sleep
important.
cycle
Like
is
one of the biggest thing
yes,
is
yes,
for
health.
health.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. This is very important. Good
And I
food,
think this long,
hydration, stay hydrated,
these are the basic things. But
and
I think this
good sleep.
lockdown, this entire lockdown, I think entire 2020 in a way helped a lot. Especially if I say personally, for
Yes,
me, it helped a lot because I read a lot of books. I completely spent time
yes,
alone with me, which I had not done before much.
yes.
So it helped me a lot to figure out things. And I think
Hmm.
taking breaks is really important. Taking real breaks, like just completely
Quality breaks.
just be with yourself. Maybe just in
Yes,
a single room or maybe go somewhere, but just be in your own self and just think. Thinking about
yes,
stuff
absolutely.
is really important. And yeah, I think it's 1.5 hours we have been talking, and yet we haven't covered
Is
many
it?
topics.
I did not
Yeah,
keep a tab.
yeah,
Okay.
it's 9 p.m. So
Okay.
yeah, but we can do some this kind of a discussion maybe some other
Mhm.
time. Maybe we can choose some other
Yes,
topic related to this. But
yes.
yeah, just a second. I'll